Okay, today is yoga for strength. We're gonna do hips today because I don't know if anybody else was like this. I sat a lot for the break, so it's time to open up the hips, work the hips a little. So, starting to ground, come on down to your back. Do what you can today. Take breaks when you need it, and grab your blocks. Start to land on your back. So, new year, changing. Can be a lot of anxious energy with change. So, just starting to land on your mat and be present with what is right here, right now. So, feel your back on the ground, feel your head on the ground. Start to let some of the tension land on the ground. Come out of your body and be on the ground. Let the tension of the muscles soften. And start to find your breath. Start to notice where your breath is coming. You're breathing into your chest, or you're breathing into all of your lungs, or you're forcing your breath with muscles. Just starting to really get to know. We'll begin with a little even breath. It doesn't have to be even within the gaps or even inhale and exhale, but we're going to breathe in, add a gentle pause, and breathe out fully and add a gentle pause. So it's like 4 parts to it. So inhaling nice and slow without that forceful feeling of muscles, just breathing in as if you're trying to feel each part of your lungs expand with your breath. Add a little gentle pause. And then exhale as if you're just trying to feel it come out slowly. You're trying to connect with the feel of air in your lungs. And then the feel of air out of your lungs. Add another gentle pause. And then let all thoughts of your breath go and kind of land in the mind, just noticing what is going on. And perhaps making a little intention today for your practice to stay on the mat. So feel your body on the mat, feel the breath in your body, be present as we move through the muscle groups. Rather than thinking about all of the little promises you made for the year or all of the to-do lists, just being present, be here right now. And then start wiggling the toes, noticing how your feet feel. Take some wiggle of the fingers, notice how the hands feel. And if the eyes are closed, start to soften the eyes open. And we're going to bring our right knee up for a hover. We're just going to start to take some knee circles, soft and slow, feeling your hips, Slow, slow, slow. Just noticing what is present. I'll reverse your circle. Noticing if there seems to be any tension in around the hip, in the back, in the glute. I want to bring the right foot down, knee up, and then take a little side sway. And bend the left knee and take some hip circles with the left leg. Go back the other way. Really feeling the legs, feeling the hips, feeling what is present here. And then bring your foot down. Take a little side stay with the knees. If you have a block and you want to use a block, you're going to place it just in under the knees. You're going to squeeze the block with your legs and then press your feet into the ground. So press your feet into the ground like you're trying to push your feet away from you without letting them move. Fire up more of the legs. Fire up the glutes. Leave your arms down on the ground so your shoulders are nice and grounded. And then lift the hips with the squeeze. So you're still squeezing the legs. You're still squeezing the backs of the legs, the inner thighs. Squeeze your block. Hold. Notice what is present. We're going to take little pulses. So small movement. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, lower, but don't ground down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. You're moving about an inch, a small pulse. So we're trying to stay engaged the whole time. Legs are engaged as we lower and engaged as we lift. Move with your breath. Wiggle the toes. Make sure you're not gripping with your toes. Soften your face. And then lower the hips, remove the block, and take a little sway. Bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hook. And then roll on over to a side and come on straight to a tabletop position. We'll move and breathe in our tabletop, inhaling in tabletop and exhaling towards a child's pose. Starting to really feel your hands on the mat, wiggle your fingers around. Move your spine in any way that feels right. Starting to be present in your body. You can tuck the toes or untuck the toes. Start to have an exploration of what you feel your body needs right now. And then come on up to a tabletop position. Find a solid base. So find strong arms and shoulders and chest. And then take your right leg out, even with the hip. Activate the right leg. Watch for bowing the back. So engage your chest. Lift up strong. Hold your leg here. We're going to bend the knee, send the heel to the ceiling, and take little pulses to the ceiling. Trying not to move anything but the leg, the glute, the hip. So chest is strong, arms are strong. Breathe. And then lift the heel to the ceiling. Bring the right knee around and towards the right hand. Hold and hover. Then pull the knee up to the ceiling. Feel the glute fire up. If you want to challenge your balance, lift the left arm up. Then bring that back down. Take the leg, even with the hip, lower the toes, press through the heel. You can take that static or little pulses. And bring the right knee back down, tabletop. Fire up your base again. Nice strong chest. Left leg even with the hip. Fire up the leg. Hold and hover. And then bend the knee. Little pulses of the heel to the ceiling. Really trying to restrict the movement in the leg. Not in the back. Not in the chest. Take the heel to the ceiling and then slowly draw the left knee towards the left hand. Hold and hover. Hold the knee up a little more. And then maybe challenge your balance by lifting the right arm. Breathe. Right hand down if you lifted it. Left leg back. Press through the heel. And then slowly come back to tabletop. Take your hands out a little bit further than you regularly have them. Maybe a little bit wider too. We're going to do child's pose push-ups. So we're going to come forward with our chest, bend into the elbows, all the way back to child's pose. Nice and slow and controlled. We want to use our arms and shoulders. We're not just flopping around. Nice and slow. Find what's going on in your shoulders. And then my arms back to regular tabletop and find your way to down dog. So warm up your down dog in whatever way feels right for you. Swaying the hips, bending the knees, whatever feels right. Find your breath. Turn your world upside down. Think about anything you might like to let go of and give your head a little gentle wiggle. Imagine it dropping to the crown of your head and onto the mat, letting your worries fall to the ground. We're going to bend the knees, get really strong in the arms and shoulders. So we don't want wiggling through the arms and shoulders. We're going to lift the hips, come to the tippy toes, and then lower the heels nice and slow. So pulling the legs up, using the calf muscles and the glutes to pull the heels up, and then lower. So rather than pressing the heels to the ground, see if you can push through the calf muscles of the legs. Inhale, lifting, exhale, lower. Just finding length, finding what was present in your legs. And then regular down dog, slow as you can without moving arms and shoulders. Lift right heel to the ceiling. Press as if you're pressing the heel further away from the fingertips. Bend the knee and we're going to bring it round to the right arm, nice and slow. So slowly around towards the right elbow. And then as if you're making a big circle back to three-legged dog. Slowly around. Back to three-legged dog. If this is too much, go back to tabletop. Do it in tabletop. Know your own strength. Watch for buckling in the joints. And then take it to three-legged dog. Step through low lunge, and you can find your blocks. Moving through low lunge. Inhale, bent knee. Exhale towards a straight leg in the right leg. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Feeling your legs, moving through your muscles. Feel your hips. Try to keep both legs engaged the whole time rather than flopping around in the hip joints. And then find a steady low lunge. Engage both legs. Start to lift up off this front thigh. Press through the right leg. So really pressing in through the heel and then lifting up from the heel. Inhale as you rise, high lunge. Exhale as you open up, arms wide, elbows bent. Hold. As if you're trying to breathe in through an open chest and pull the elbows back. Open, open, open. And then hands to prayer. We're going to slowly lift up through Warrior 3 and step through to Mountain Pose. Find your Mountain Pose. Find your legs. Wiggle your toes on the ground. We're going to move and breathe. So inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. And you can stay with this if you'd like to work through the legs. Little tiny bend in the knees. And as we inhale, we're going to lift the heels. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale, lower the heels. Nice and slow, trying to stay engaged in the legs. Find your mountain pose, prayer at heart. Hold center. Bend the knees, sink the hips just a little, just enough to be nice and engaged in the legs. Imagine you're squeezing a block between the knees and pulling the knees apart at the same time. So really engaged in the legs. Start to bring the weight over to the right leg. Left heel lifts. And then lift the left knee. And take our arms out for balance out wide. And take the left knee out to the side. Lift the left heel. So you're going to tilt a little to keep your balance. And you're going to pull the knee up and then tilt the knee in. We're looking for rotation in the hip. So pulling it up, tilting it in. Maybe easier if I turn for you to see this. Pull it in, pull it back. Looking for rotation in the hip. You're looking to balance with the right arm. Is this challenging? And then draw the left knee back into center. Get nice and tall, still active. And then pull the right, keep saying left and right wrong. Left heel in and back. Left heel in and back. You should feel different muscles working through the inner hip and inner thigh. And then for the challenge, if you'd like, cross the left ankle just over the right knee. And maybe sink it down. See if you can sink your hips down to a one-legged chair. Breathe and balance. Stay on your mat or you'll fall and wobble. Slowly lift up, prayer overhead. And bring your arms down for down mountain pose and tap it out. Back to our breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. This time, inhale up, exhale, swan dive it all the way down. Step back, high plank, and then straight to down dog. Ground in your round dog. Find your breath. Feel your feet, feel your hands. Without moving arms and shoulders, slowly lift left leg to three-legged dog. Send the heel a little higher, really engaged in the left leg. If this is challenging, you can bend the right leg a little more, give yourself a little more space. Then you're going to bend the knee and make that big circle. So bring the knee up and around, looking for motion in the hip towards the left elbow, and then a big circle back to three-legged dog. So not just rolling around in the hip joint, but trying to remain engaged and feel the motion. Stay active with the muscles that make this happen. Use a full breath to make the circle. And then reach up, three-legged dog. And step through low lunge. Inhaling forward, exhaling, sending the left leg towards straight. And then find a solid low lunge. Both legs strong, lifting the torso up off the left leg. And then slowly inhale as you rise up, high lunge. This time, open the arms out wide, 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 and active. Pull the arms back, open the chest. Breathe. Roll the shoulders one at a time as if you're doing opposites. So roll one forward and then one back. Nice and slow. And then regular high lunge, hands of prayer. Slowly step through warrior three, all the way to mountain pose. Connect to the breath, adding any version. If you just want to inhale, arms up, exhale, prayer to heart, or inhale, lift the heels, and exhale, lower. Wherever you're at, slowly come to chair. To a little baby chair, just enough to find space. Don't go so low you can't move. Engage, weight onto the left foot. Lift the right heel, and then slowly lift the right knee. Right leg remain very engaged. Arms out, open to help with balance. Draw the right leg open. And then we're going to dip the right knee down and draw it up. So we're not flopping the leg. It's nice and engaged. Slow, controlled. Feel the muscles that make the hip move. Move with your breath. Slowly bring right knee back to center, and then we're going to draw right heel in and out. Nice and slow, different muscles in the hip and leg. Try to feel and be present. Get to know the muscles as much as possible. Really engage. And then for the challenge, right heel just above the left knee, hands to prayer. Slowly sink the hips. Don't lose your focus. Stay on the mat. Whew. Slowly bring it all the way up, back to mountain pose. Tap out the left foot. And then back to our breath. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. One more time. This time, bring your prayer to heart. Option to close your eyes. And do a whole body scan. Wiggle the toes. Soften the legs. Soften the low back. What happens when you stand in the winter months? Get to know your own posture. Some of us squeeze our glutes. Some of us squeeze our low back. Some of us are loose and comfy. So get to know what your regular posture is. Closing your eyes helps you find the muscles that might be engaged and overly squeezing. Wiggle your toes. Soften your face. Soften your shoulders. We're going to work with a deeper opening of the hips and a stronger movement. So careful and slow as we go through this. So I'll soften the eyes open. Step to the right side of your mat with your right foot. Slowly take the left leg as if you're going to a goddess on an angle on your mat. So a little complicated. You can have your hands apart first. We're going to have most of the weight onto this right leg, keeping it a little bent. We're going to move the left knee up and around and step. And then back. So nice and slow. Most of the weight on the right leg. Left leg remains engaged. So you want to feel this hip movement. You want to stay engaged. Woo, try to land light. Hands out can help you balance. Move as slow as you can. Really trying to feel this hip rotation. Lift the knee more and more as you get used to it. And then land in your goddess. So set up your goddess, wiggle around if you need to see the camera a little more. Land in your goddess. Find both feet. Lift up from the ground. So really not gripping with the toes. Both legs super engaged. Slowly lower the hips and pull the knees open. Hold. And check in. Are you using more of your glutes than anything else? See if you can evenly engage. So engaging glutes and legs at the same time. We're going to slowly peel one heel up at a time. Nice and slow. And if you're ready, you can try and peel both heels up. Both legs need to remain engaged to be able to peel both up nice and slow. Lower both heels. Start to shift the hips over towards the right knee. So a little bend in the right leg. And we're going to bring our torso over. Hold arms out if you want to make this more challenging. It makes your torso heavier. If you want it less challenging, hands at prayer. We're going to take this left elbow towards the right knee. And then pull it up. Left elbow towards right knee. And then pull it up. Inhale, open. Exhale, squish. If you want to make this super challenging, you're going to try and freeze the legs. Keep the muscles really strong. Inhale up. Any minute now you should feel that right glute really firing. Maybe even a little burn. Hold it over. You can tuck the right hand behind the back. Left hand open. Super strong in both legs. Peel the right heel up and lower. Peel it up and lower. Trying to keep everything else super still. This right thigh might be burning. And then lower the right heel. We're going to send our hips over towards the left knee. And straighten down. So you can come down to ninja. You can all the way down to ninja or just hold here. Legs strong. Try not to lock that right knee. You can peel the toes up. Hold and hover. Slowly back. Star pose. Reach up. Inhale, open. Exhale. Arms down. Inhale, open. Exhale. Imagine you're pushing your breath down, pushing it out. Inhale, arms up. Breathe in. Exhale, push out what you no longer need. And then back to goddess. Do you hate me yet? So, and goddess, take a moment to feel left and right sides because we only worked one side and one side might feel a little different. Find your strength. And then arms out or remaining at prayer. You're going to take the hips over a little to the left side and the right elbow towards the left knee. So inhale, open. Exhale, little twist, keeping the legs really strong. So to keep them from moving, you got to really fire up that left glute. You can experiment with the idea of pulling your left knee open with your muscles. And then bring it over, hold to the left side, super engaged. Peel up the heel and lower. See how slowly you can do it. You're really going to feel the muscles more if you really pull slow. And your left hand can tuck onto the back. Hands to prayer. Slowly shift the torso over towards the right leg and come down to whatever version of ninja you are able to find. If you stay up higher and engaged, you're actually using more strength rather than hanging out in the joints. And then slowly back to your star. Take your feet parallel and take a little wiggle of the legs. Let them go. And then we're going to take the left foot a little bit further over to the left, and we're going to do that goddess hip move with the right leg. So get the weight more onto the left leg. And arms out for a prayer. Slowly bring that left knee in and around, and then in and back. Right knee. I'm so left and right challenged today. So really trying to feel the muscles that make this hip rotation happen. Landing light, landing slow. And then back to your goddess. Find your prayer. Feel both sides. Notice how you feel. And then straighten up the legs. Slowly forward fold. Grab your block if you want to keep your torso even with the hips. You're going to forward fold. The wider you have your legs, the more you do inner thigh. Closer together, you're going to work back of the legs. So find which one works for you. And this is a nice stretchy break. So take it how you feel you need. Maybe just hold static and focus on your breath. Let the tension out of your head. Or maybe you take some moves lifting heels or slowly moving the hips side to side. So when you move the hips side to side, you want this movement to come from inner thigh, not the sacrum. So engage the legs and feel inner thigh as you move the hips. Catch your breath. And then everyone's favorite pose, we're going to slowly peel the heels and toes out and work our way towards Malasana Yogi Squat. So you can take your block and place it in underneath the hips, or you can hold. If you are strong enough to hold your Malasana, try to hold it up a little higher so you're not sinking into the glutes, but your legs are very, very, very engaged. So lifting up, either using the block and pulling up with your legs or lifting up with your muscles. We're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, twist. Trying to stay engaged in the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. So the twist is really in the ribcage here. Try to keep the hips steady. Come back to center, arms to prayer, or arms down wherever you need. And we're going to slowly press through the heels, engaging the legs and glutes super tight. Inhale, raise up. And exhale, back down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, back down. Hands can be a prayer. If you're super tired, try to rise from the heels, pressing through the legs, super engaged in the legs. And then sit down. And this time, grabbing your block, take it a little more restorative. So land your feet on the ground where you can feel like you're engaging inner thighs a lot. So you're gonna bring your arms to inner thighs. You're gonna press into your thighs and then press your thighs back into your arms, engage. Try not to grip with the toes. Find your breath. Lengthen the spine as if you're pushing the crown of your head to the ceiling a little more. And feel what's going on in the shoulders. You can remain on the block and take an easy seat up on the block. You can take your knees on either side. We're going to sit and work the shoulders. I have a new phone. I can't keep an eye on the time, so I'm just checking. All right. So find a place that you can hold comfortably as we're going to sit for a moment. We're going to work the shoulders. So we're going to take left arm to right shoulder, right arm to left shoulder. Doesn't matter which way you do it. We're going to hold. So holding your shoulders, really feel your shoulders. And then we're going to pull our elbows up. And pull, pull, pull. Try not to tuck the head back, but keep the head neutral. And pull, 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 pull. See what you feel in your shoulders. So you can push the elbows away from you. And then slowly bring them down. And this time, pull the shoulder blades apart. So you can't see what I'm doing, but you're going to try and pull the shoulder blades apart. You want to feel space right in between the shoulder blades. So pull, pull, pull the shoulder blades apart. Bring the elbows back down. Still kind of holding, so you're still firm in your grasp of your arms and shoulders. So you want to be snug, like you're hugging yourself. We're going to work the neck nice and slow. So take your head in a really slow circle, seeing how it feels to hold the muscles of the shoulders while you feel the muscles of the neck. It should feel fairly delicious. You should feel the stretch and then go back in the other direction. And then bring the head back to neutral. We're going to take our hands, we're going to tuck them so that the back of our hands is going to hit our hips. So you're going to push the back of your hands into your hips. And this should fire up the muscles across the front of the shoulders. So if you really push into your hips without pushing your hips forward, so push your hips back into your hands with this little locking mechanism. And then draw the elbows in and then back. Small controlled movement. Notice if your low back or your glutes or anything else is trying to do the work. We're just trying to work through the shoulders. So try to soften everything else. Soften the face. Holding this lock, so elbows neutral, holding this lock in your arms. Now we're going to take another head circle. So bring chin down and take your head in a slow, slow, slow circle. And see if that feels a little different. And back in the other direction. Back to neutral. And then switch which arm was on top. So crossing your arms, switch which arm is the one on top. Grasp and hold. And then pull your elbows all the way up. So pulling your elbows up without moving the spine. Pull your elbows up. Push them up. Try not to tuck the head back. Reach, 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 reach. And then bring the elbows down. Widen the shoulder blades.
So as if you're trying to push the shoulder blades apart with the muscles that are right there in between the shoulder blades. Don't forget to breathe. And then lower the elbows, still that nice firm grip. And take your head in your nice slow circle. And notice if on the third try around, perhaps there's a little less tension in the neck. And then back in the other way. Back to neutral. Bring your elbows out to the side, fingertips facing in. Start to engage. So we're going to pull the arms apart. We really want to use the muscles in the front of the chest. Pull arms, elbows apart. We're not doing a lot of spinal movement. Chest. Pull apart, hold, and then push the elbows away. Really push the elbows away. And we're going to squeeze in and pull out. Squeeze in and pull out. This whole movement is not in the spine. Watch for the lower back or the glutes firing up. You want to work through the arms and shoulders. You can change to fists if using open hands stresses your wrists or hands. Small movement in the arms and shoulders. And then pull the elbows wide, hold, and we're going to take little tiny tilts. So we want to move from either side of the rib cage. So little tiny tilt to the right, back to center, inhale center, exhale tilt. So inhale center, exhale tilt. So now we're going lateral movement in the spine, but we're not moving from the spine. Be careful to use the muscles on the side body to make this movement happen. Really start to have that mind-body connection. Try to keep the arms and shoulders active. And then bring it down, flick away, loosen the arms. Take one shoulder at a time in a nice big circle. See if you can loosen a little more tension across the chest, really starting to feel what is present here. Notice if these muscles are burning a little because we use them. Draw the shoulders in towards each other. And then all the way back. So nice and slow, just trying to feel all the ways our shoulders can move. And then slowly make your way down to your back. So all the hard work is done, some stretchy time, and then some downtime. Just on down to your back. Bring your knees in, feel your back. Land back on the ground. Hands either on your thighs or just underneath your knees. You can take your knees in slow circles. So out and then back in. Just kind of feeling what is present, noticing if our circles feel a little different. And then go the other way. So just watching that you're not engaging your low back or moving too much through the back. Make your circles smaller if you're feeling this in your back at all. And then take right knee over left. Draw the knees in towards the chest and the heels towards opposite shoulders. If you're not feeling this in the piriformis space, glute piriformis space on the right side, imagine you're pushing your right hip or pushing your sits bone away from you. See if you can find it a little more. Breathe into that muscle group. Slowly unravel, switch left over right, and settle in. Breathe into this space. You can play with your feet in this stretch, taking ankle circles.
Practice your own, especially as you're winding down. Start to just explore what is present. Wiggle your toes, soften your face. Slowly unravel. Have your knees over your hips. Try to get your shoulders onto the ground. So maybe opening your arms wide with elbows bent. Really locking shoulders onto the ground. I'm going to take little tiny twisting movements, but we don't want to move the hips too much. So we're going to take the knees. Inhale, center. Exhale, take the knees a little bit over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, a little bit over to the left. So moving with your breath. Just starting to feel a little twisting, maybe burning up, moving around some of that digestive space. Engaging the side body, so the movement comes from the oblique muscles. And then take your feet all the way to the ceiling. Spread the toes. Take some ankle circles. Just get the feet above the heart. Starting to soften everything else. Maybe even taking some wiggles of the legs. Letting the blood flow. Letting the muscles soften. Really feeling the legs and the hips. You can turn the feet out and in. Just kind of starting to feel what you might have moved around and changed. And then slowly lower the feet. Take the legs long. Point the toes. So point the toes. Start to engage the legs without pushing the backs of the knees to the ground. So the legs are engaged. Point the toes, reach your arms overhead. And then stretch from the fingertips to the toes, maybe taking one heel at a time up and just inching it forward little by little, like you're making your whole front body longer, 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 longer. Maybe sighing out of the mouth, breathing just a little more into releasing. And slowly soften to the ground, leaving the legs where they are. Keep the arms even with the shoulders. Place the palms down. And we're just going to move the shoulders, little soft circles here one at a time with our arms down on the ground. So trying to feel the muscles in the front of the shoulders. Try not to move the head. Try not to move the neck, just moving one shoulder at a time. And see if you can coax a little more softness in the chest and more of the shoulder blades sinking down to the ground each time you roll the shoulder through its range of motion. So slow, gentle, mindful feeling. If this is too much on the low back, bend the knees and take the feet to the ground. Still keeping that soft, as if you're trying to coax your shoulder blades to get to the ground. Coax the whole shoulder to land on the ground and the chest to open. If you feel that you've gotten to the point where your shoulders are most grounded, allow the arms to soften, palms up, hands soft. Take a wiggle of the hips. Just check in, make sure that you didn't increase any tension in the low back. And then see where your chin is. Maybe lift it a little more to the ceiling. See if you can get that natural curve of your neck. Sometimes when we lay on the ground, we feel like we should push our spine towards the ground. We over flatten our curves. So see if you can start to feel any places where your spine feels that it's being pulled in an unnatural way, pulled in a way that it doesn't want to be in. Really check in on all the muscles of your back. And then do an assessment for where you would like to be for your resting pose. So we did a lot of hip opening. It is a wonderful day to maybe open up the hips for your resting pose, but if you bring the soles of your feet together and knees open, find the place where you're stuck, the most open, and then lift up just above that. So prop yourself up just above your most open spot so that your resting pose is not a pulling pose. It's not increasing tension in any of your muscles. Just slowly make your way to where you would like to be. You can just take traditional corpse pose. You can prop up with blankets. You can prop up with something under your knees. Lots of options. Explore where your body wants to be. And then start to let go of control of even your breath. So generally you would want to do a couple of breaths, noticing if you're controlling around your breath. So take a breath in and feel your chest as you breathe. Take a breath in and feel the muscles around your diaphragm, around your lower torso. Notice if there's any gripping there. Notice if you're holding on, gripping, if you're really forcing that breath. And then let it go. Let it go as if you're softening all the muscles of your throat, your chest, your torso. And your breath is just going to move in and move out without control, just as if you were asleep. And then begin to scan the muscles of the body, starting from the toes and slowly working your way up. As if you're asking yourself how you feel, how are you doing, checking in, looking for any of those little hidden messages your muscles might be holding on to that you weren't paying attention to. Finding any tension in the body and just gently, softly letting it go. As if you're going to ask how you're doing and then give yourself permission to rest. And then land in the center of the mind. Land in that space that's just below the thoughts. Picture anatomically, picture that space, the top of the spine, that's below the higher functionings of the brain. It's often referred to our reptilian part of our brain. It's the automatic parts of our brain. That center spot. Imagine you could rest your whole awareness and attention right here and watch the thoughts as they go by, as if from a different place. So as if drawing yourself out of the battleground, drawing yourself away from the field of the firing of the thoughts. Rather than wrestling with them, rather than asking them to stop firing, just pulling your attention deeper inward to this central part of our mind. Knowing that thoughts are thoughts, knowing that they are supposed to fire, are just the mechanisms of our brain. And each time you get caught away in one of the spirals, just gently bring your awareness, your whole awareness, back to this central point. And then slowly, slowly walk your attention deeper and deeper within,
as if you're going to walk from this point in your brain towards the sound of your own heartbeat. Getting more and more quiet and still, and finding the sound of your own internal hum. Before coming back from your rest, if you know of a mantra or an ancient rhythm that particularly resonates with you, take a moment in the sacred space to utter it, hear it in your mind, repeat it like a little song. If you're not familiar with any particular mantras or songs or little sayings, try just repeating in a sing-songy voice to yourself. See how many times you can repeat your mantra, repeat your sound before you get trailed away. Not like it's a competition, just practice, practice, practice. Become more and more present with the vibration of this sound in your mind. As if bringing all of your awareness to this sound, you can begin to let it vibrate throughout your whole body. As if this vibration can cleanse away what is no longer needed, cleanse away all that is held within the muscles, within the worries of the mind. And then when you're ready, slowly bring a knee in at a time and make your way to a fetal position. And curl up in a little teeny tiny ball. And take a few moments in your fetal position to just ground down. Beginning to connect to the feel of your body on the mat, returning to present moment. In the beginning of the year is the beginning of New Year's resolutions, and often a time when we start really judging ourselves even more than we really need to, or we typically do. So look for that inner critic. Look for those words and sentences and phrases you've been using towards yourself that are perhaps unkind and unnecessary. like to think of the inner critic as an actual inner person in my mind, so I can actually fire her, get rid of her, give her a visual for letting her go, telling her she's really not any use to me. But you can simply think of the sentences, give them some kind of visual, and imagine them letting them drop onto the mat. Maybe you're just letting them drop for a moment. Maybe they'll come right back. But the more you do it, the more you let it go, the more you remember that inner critic is no good, the easier it will be to catch her when she pops up. And then slowly bring yourself to a seated position. Bring your hands to prayer at heart space. And bow to your own inner wisdom, your light within. Send yourself a little love, peace, and gratitude. As if you're filling up your heart space. And then from this heart space, send that love, peace, and gratitude out, either just out in general or to someone you might have in mind. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year, everyone.